Washington, U.S. regulators voted on Thursday, December 14, on a plan overhauling rules for Internet services providers. The action by the Federal Communications Commission is likely to end so-called net neutrality. Here are some questions and answers. What is net neutrality and why is IT important? The concept dates back to the early days of the web, and requires Internet service providers to treat all data equally, prohibiting the blocking of sites or services for competitive reasons, and banning fast and slow lanes for different kinds of online traffic. Backers of net neutrality argue that the handful of high-speed U.S. Internet service providers have incentives to block or degrade services that compete with their own offerings, in areas such as streaming video, calling or even web search. FCC rollback backers argue that neutrality rules crimp broadband firms and prevent investment in new high-speed services such as video conferencing, telemedicine and connected vehicles that would need fast lanes. How did we get here? The debate has been raging for over a decade with court and administrative challenges. Neutrality activists have staged street and online protests, backed by many major tech firms and Hollywood celebrities. The large broadband firms, meanwhile, have invested heavily in lobbying. Tim Wu, the law professor who coined the term net neutrality, said the concept dates back to the 1970s, when regulators sought to ensure that the telecom monopoly at the time, AT&T, did not block or discriminate against emerging data services over phone lines. The FCC in the early 2000s sought to enshrine these concepts in rulemaking, but federal courts twice ruled the agency lacked authority because Internet service providers, ISPs, were not common carriers like phone companies. In 2015, the FCC got around the court rulings by declaring that broadband firms were in fact common carriers that may be regulated under a 1934 law. This angered ISPs and their backers, who feared it would open the door to price controls and heavy-handed regulation. The FCC Thursday adopted by a 3-2 vote a proposal by Republican-appointed Chairman Ajit Pai to scrap the 2015 rules, which he described as heavy-handed, and replace them with his Restore Internet Freedom plan. Critics contend the plan could kill the open Internet as we know it. Activists say Pai is doing more than just rolling back the clock, pointing out that net neutrality has been largely enforced under both Republican and Democratic administrations, citing the 4 Internet freedoms outlined in 2005 by then-Chairman Michael Powell. Is net neutrality dead? It remains unclear how the big ISPs will respond. Their main trade group has pledged the firms would refrain from blocking, throttling, or degrading any lawful content or application. There would be a great deal of resistance to any type of discrimination, says Doug Brake, a policy analyst with the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, a Washington think tank. And it's not just social pressure, Brake said, noting that any effort to block competing services could invite antitrust scrutiny and likely lead to strict neutrality rules in a new administration. What happens now?